Hey there guys, what's going on? Tyler here with your Movie Fix, and today we're just going to be talking about a couple things in the world of movie news and some things that stood out to me in the last week or two. I just want to shed some light on them, including the status of the next Wolverine movie and a couple of Star Wars stories relating to Darth Vader and Han Solo. So first up, I just want to talk about that Hugh Jackman caught up with Collider, and they were talking to him about the next Wolverine movie that he was going to be doing, and he did say, he confirmed that they are pretty much done writing the script. He's got a complete script, but they're still always going to be tweaking it and working on it even while they're shooting the movie, so that was really encouraging to hear. But he did go on to say that they don't have a start date yet and that he would be telling everybody when that happened, which is fine, it's understandable, but he's also saying how this is going to be his last one. Now, I'm pretty sure, did he not already say this would, he said it a couple times that a couple of performances as Wolverine would be his last one, but I do think that this is going to be the last performance that we get. I think he's telling the truth. I think it's, especially the way that this is probably going to be marketed. And I am pretty excited for this movie, Wolverine, the last one that took place in Japan. That's probably my second favorite out of all of the X-Men films. I really enjoyed it. I love that they're bringing James Mangold back to write and direct it and work with him on there, which I think is going to be great. I think that's all going to work out fine. But there's just a couple of things I really worry about in this movie, because I'm hearing that they are going to be doing a Old Man Logan type of story. Now, obviously, they can't do the original one with Hulk and all these other Marvel characters that make an appearance, but we're going to be getting definitely an Old Man Logan of sorts, and we're going to be exploring that. And, I feel like they're going to have to kill him. I think they're going to have to kill off Wolverine, really, to make this story work and to maybe end that legacy, end it on a good note. It's so hard to think because he's been playing this character for, 17 years it's going to be when it comes out. So I just think they're going to have to give him that kind of send-off. And Hugh Jackman is the type of actor that he especially when playing Wolverine, you can say what you want about maybe him as a choice for Wolverine, that, oh, he's too tall, they don't like him. What you can't talk bad about is his performance as him, because he's a phenomenal actor in anything he does. So his performance and his dedication to the character is something that's always going to be there. And I think he's going to go, full force, especially on this one. But the thing that concerns me is that they said maybe Liev Schreiber would be coming back as Sabretooth, which, man, Wolverine Origins, him and that, he was fine. He was fine as the character Sabretooth, but I didn't really like anything about that movie, the way they tried tying it in that Sabretooth with his brother. I don't want them to go back to that. And that movie doesn't even fit in with any of the continuity of the X-Men movies, which I think First Class came out after that, and they just totally ignored it. You have teenage Emma Frost in Origins, which was in like the 70s, and then First Class in the 60s when she's a grown woman. So it's like even Fox and, Bryan Singer and everyone producing, they just totally ignored that movie like it never even happened. And although Liev Schreiber wasn't, the worst part of the movie or anything like that, he played Sabretooth fine. I just didn't like any of the history. I didn't like anything that they did with Wolverine's story in that movie. I thought we had a perfect Weapon X origin story in X-Men 2. And speaking of that, in Days of Future Past, whenever they had the flashbacks with Wolverine, turning into Wolverine, becoming him, they didn't use anything from Origins. They didn't use that version of any of those characters, and the flashbacks that we saw were actually cuts from X2 and not even Origins. So I hope they continue to ignore that movie. I don't want Origins to be part of the continuity, but it's not confirmed that he would be returning, but he did say he was interested and that Hugh Jackman was open to that. And I think it's more of just the camaraderie of them as actors, and they really liked working together. But I'm hoping James Mangold and the producers are smart enough not to include that and don't go anywhere with Sabretooth. There's so much more you can do with Wolverine and his world that you don't need to put Sabretooth in it. You don't need to make him his brother. I hope they do something different, but I'm really excited. Like I said, I loved the last Wolverine, and I'm sure this is going to be excellent. And as far as Origins go, let's not even acknowledge Deadpool. Let's not talk about that, because that's another example of them just ignoring the movie. And I know Days of Future Past rewrote it all so they can do this, but take advantage of the rewrite from Days of Future Past and don't include any of that stuff. Next up, I want to talk about a couple of items from Star Wars, particularly talking about Darth Vader being included in Rogue One. Now, I think this is something we've kind of known for a while. They've been talking about this, been rumored for months and months, and it's kind of been coming up. These are just reports coming from Joe Blow and Making Star Wars, so again, nothing totally confirmed, but I do think we're going to be seeing him, and that was a given. And Making Star Wars went on to say that he would be a prominent player in a few scenes and something to fear for the heroes, and he would be alive and kicking in the future of the Star Wars universe beyond just this film as well, which is fine. They're going to be making a Boba Fett and a Han Solo movie, so he would probably make a lot of sense to put him in those movies as well, so that's fine. I get that. But Joe Blow's saying that his role is going to be larger than what a lot of people had thought before, which is fine. Darth Vader is the face of Star Wars. He's the most iconic thing about it, and it makes a lot of sense for them to put it in. And It's fine if they just have Vader. I don't really want to see a lot of other Jedi. I don't really want to see other Force users. You know, we already know that they exist because of things like Rebels, and that's fine if they want to keep that in there. But with Rogue One, it's far more interesting to think of this as like on the ground battlefield, what's going on with the soldiers, having a Saving Private Ryan-esque type of movie with these group of rebels going to steal the plans. Keep it with the smugglers and the soldiers, and keep it down there on the planet. I don't want to see them going the route of introducing more Jedi, which it could work, and anything can work if they do it well enough. But it's the thing that is most interesting is including just Darth Vader, and I think they said they're going to digitally recreate Grand Moff Tarkin, which would be really cool to add these in as the antagonist, because that's who they were. This takes place almost probably immediately before A New Hope for the most part, so it would make sense to have Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin back in the line there. And I think if you're going to use Vader, they should maybe do it a little differently, like detach him from the story in a way where he is just pure menacing for these antagonists. And, just on their mission alone, what they were doing, I think some of our, protagonists. Our protagonists do need, I think, to probably die. We need to have at least one of them. I think it would be great to add a death in there for the characters, or maybe have them kidnapped by the stormtroopers. This needs to be a pretty dark story, because that's what they made it sound like in A New Hope, with people not really surviving this encounter with Vader. And I think that's definitely what they need to give us. Have us more of the Empire Strikes Back version of Vader. Bring him back, make him ruthless, make him powerful. Include that, and maybe add in more of the mystery of Vader, because at this point he should be mysterious, even though we already know about him. But this takes place before then, so that would be better, I think. And this next thing coming up is the story about the apparent shortlist that came out for the young actors to play a young Han Solo. And this is the list here. You have Miles Teller, Ansel Elgort, Dave Franco, Jack Rayner, Scott Eastwood, Logan Lerman, Emery Cohen, and Blake Jenner. Now, I can say that I haven't seen all of these actors in movies. I can't really base too much off of some of them, but others I have seen, and I just want to say that I don't even want this movie to happen. I don't want a young Han Solo movie to happen. I think this is a wasted opportunity. It just screams... I guess anything in Hollywood, yes, is kind of a cash grab, but at some level, directors, producers, actors, they're the ones that are putting in passion to it. So somebody really wants this to be a great project and a great movie, but man, I don't see how you can make this work without Harrison Ford. I think they should have left it. I think a much better idea would have been to have Ewan McGregor back and do an Obi-Wan movie, have that in between 3 and 4, but seeing a movie that takes place 10 years before A New Hope with Han Solo. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it shouldn't be done. I don't really know how to feel about any of these. Now, off the bat, Miles Teller and Ansel Elgort, man, those are both just pretty bad choices to even consider for Han Solo. I don't like that. I do like them as actors. Now, I'm not going to say they're bad actors. I love Miles Teller, but seeing them as even considered for Han Solo, that just screams like a bad idea. But Taron Egerton, who's not rumored, he would have also been a good choice, but, we work with what we have here. Dave Franco could be interesting, but at the same time, man, just getting these actors, I don't think it's a good idea to get somebody who has too big of a name attached to him, because yes, that can draw in maybe some star power and whatnot, but I say this isn't going to sit well seeing a Han Solo movie that doesn't have Harrison Ford. I don't think people are going to like that. And at least on the surface, it's not going to look good. And the movie could still be fantastic, but getting somebody who already has a name like Dave Franco, Scott Eastwood, Logan Lerman, while they're not all totally huge, it just doesn't seem like a great idea to have any of them. And also, guys, just remember this: just because this shortlist came out, even by Variety, who is pretty reliable, it's not like they're a rumor mill or anything like that, and they're reporting this, which is fine. But just remember, this is just a shortlist. And take it with something of a grain of salt. This doesn't mean these are the only actors they're testing. This doesn't even mean these are the only ones that they're down to. Yet, while I don't doubt that some of these actors, if not all of them, have been tested, there could be a million other people that they've already screen tested. I think there was a report they screen tested like 4,500 actors or something like that for this role, which don't take this as the gospel that it's going to definitely be one of these 8, because or 7, whatever it is. I don't think that's what it's going to be. It could very well just be somebody else, which I kind of prefer out of this list. I guess if I really, really had to choose, I'm more on board with Logan Lerman and Scott Eastwood, just because I've seen them and I haven't seen everybody else. And Miles Teller and Ansel, they don't fit. That shouldn't happen. But I think one of the best examples of this to not take it as the gospel is, with the Batman casting. When it was announced that Batman was going to be included in the Man of Steel sequel, or the follow-up to it, we had probably 100 actors, if not more, that were being rumored on a weekly basis after that announcement. And they had a million short list of all these actors that were tested. And guess what? Ben Affleck wasn't a single one of them. He was probably one of the first people they actually went to. And he wasn't on any of these lists. He wasn't even rumored. Nobody was even pretending to act like, yeah, that could happen. And it did. And that is working out. And yes, he is a big name, but I just don't like the idea of taking a young Han Solo who isn't Harrison Ford. It just doesn't really, I know it's not going to sit well with me. Again, they could pick a perfect actor to portray him and it could be done right. But they've also said, they did interviews with a couple of these guys asking them, and one of them was going on about how you don't need to imitate what he did. That's the most important thing, is to put your original spin on it, which I agree and I disagree. Does that not sound awful that you're going to have somebody playing Han Solo that may actually be nothing like Han Solo? I know he's in a different place come 4, 5, and 6 than he is maybe 10 years ago, but I think the Han Solo that we got in A New Hope is going to be pretty similar to what we got here in this movie, which should be a smuggler. He's a scoundrel. That's what he is. And I don't think he would be played very differently. And them saying that they would love to put their original spin on Han Solo, that doesn't sound good to me. And I'm not saying we need to get the guy Anthony Ingruber to do like an exact copy of Harrison Ford, because that sounds good in theory, but we don't know how he is truly as an actor leading a film. Just this whole thing kind of doesn't sit well with me. So I'm kind of hoping it's none of these guys. I hope it's somebody else that they have in mind to play him. But yeah, guys, comment down below. What do you think about all this news about Darth Vader being included in Rogue One and this whole Han Solo nonsense, and about the Wolverine script update? All right, guys, this has been your Movie Fix. If you want more videos like this, be sure to subscribe for more movie news, movie reviews, and trailer reactions, things like that. Also, don't be shy. Feel free to give me a follow on Instagram. You can keep up with my latest shenanigans, Blu-ray pickups, movie nights, and things like that. I'll see you guys on the next video.